Hi all, I am Camila for those who don't know me, and I'm super excited to be here with Chalait. Today we're going to be doing a short, slow flow. I like to call them feel-good flows. They're meant to create space in both mind and body to feel good. So whenever you're ready, we're not going to need much for this class. If you do have blocks or sturdy pillows or a blanket, it might come in handy. If not, no worries, we'll modify without them. So whenever you're ready, we'll meet in a seated position on your mats. Taking a second to settle here, finding a way for you to feel supported. So that might mean that you'll use a blanket under your sits bones, or maybe if your knees are propped up, you might want to use bolsters or blocks to support the knees. We want to feel held throughout this class. Instead of us jamming ourselves or pushing ourselves into a position, we want to feel supported and met wherever we are, allowing ourselves to be completely. So whenever you're ready, maybe closing your eyes or a gentle gaze as we meet ourselves in the space on our mats at this time. Meeting our breath. As we allow ourselves to be completely. There's nowhere we have to be, nothing we have to do, but be here fully. Keeping your gaze gentle or eyes closed, bringing your hands in front of your heart in prayer, Anjali Mudra. As you press the thumbs against the breastbone, finding a little more length and space through the spine. Taking the time to dedicate this class to ourselves, to be fully present, mind and body, throughout this time. Taking a deep inhale in through the nose, releasing it all out through the mouth with a big sigh. Gently opening your eyes, placing your hands on your knees. We're going to start with a couple Sufi grinds, or what might be known as circles around our hips. Opening our chest, rounding our back as we go back. As we reach our heart forward, rolling our shoulders back. Finding a sort of flow in this movement with our breath. Maybe you want to keep your eyes closed to really connect mind and body through the breath. Next time, as you reach forward, opening the heart, we're going to go the other way, in the other direction. Making it a gentle movement. We're not using our hands to push ourselves anywhere or shove ourselves. It's more just to support the flow, moving through the energy of the spine. One more, and we'll meet through center. Once again, finding that long spine, taking a deep breath. Again, allowing ourselves just to be. And we're going to take the bottoms of our feet, bringing them together, letting the knees fall gently. If you feel it tight, you can scoot your feet a little forward. Feeling your sits bones ground, your spine lengthen through the crown of the head. And you might want to stay here, or if it feels right for you, you're going to fold forward as you keep a long spine. Reaching the heart forward. Keeping the sits bones grounded. And gently lengthen back up through center. You're going to lengthen out your legs to the sides. All toes are facing up. Knees are in the same direction. Feeling the sits bones ground, you might want to sort of scoot the flesh to really feel the sits bones ground onto the mat. You might see Ramona throughout the class. And you're going to place your hands in front of you, folding over. So as you fold over, I like to walk my hands forward to make sure I'm keeping a long spine. If you have blocks, it might be nice so you can place your forearms on the blocks. If not, no worries, just bend the elbows as feels right for you. You might come onto your forearms, or you might just stay on your hands. Making sure your knees are in the same direction as your toes and your toes are facing up. And walking your hands back through center, bringing the right foot inside of the left thigh. Letting, again, the knee fall onto the ground so we're not pulling the heel in as close to ourselves as possible. We're just taking it enough so the knee can fall gently onto the mat. Keeping the torso facing in the same direction as the hips, we're going to walk the left hand along the left leg, maybe reaching all the way towards our foot, grabbing the big toe as you reach your right arm next to the ear. Opening the chest, almost as if the whole torso wanted to face up. And gently lift, placing the right hand behind the right sit bone, reaching the left arm forward and back. Pushing the hips forward, opening the whole front side of the body just for one breath. Inhale. And on the exhale, lower the sits bones down. This time shifting the torso to face the left leg. And we're going to walk our hands along the leg, reaching for the foot, folding over the left leg. The reason why I like to say walk our hands is because that sort of leads you to keep your spine long instead of just jamming and folding over. Reaching the heart towards the left foot. And walking your hands back in. Other side. Lengthen the right leg out, left foot inside of the right thigh. Keeping the torso in the same direction as the hips. And we're going to walk the right hand along the right leg as we reach the left arm next to the ear towards the right foot. We're creating space through all these poses, so make sure you're not crunching in to reach further. Instead, you're opening the chest, broadening the collarbones. And gently come back through center, placing the left hand behind you, reaching the right arm in front and back as you gently push the hips forward, lifting the heart. Inhale, and on the exhale, lower down. Shifting the torso to face over towards the right leg as you fold over the right leg, gently reaching the heart forward. Keeping the spine long, crown of the head reaching forward. And coming back through center. We're going to cross our legs one more time. Cross-legged position. And this time we're going to switch legs. So whatever you did at the beginning, you're going to do the opposite side. Usually that means it's a non-dominant side, so it might feel a little awkward at the beginning. We're going to begin to move in a dynamic way to really get the blood flowing. On the inhale, reach the arms up. On the exhale, twist over towards the right for one breath. And inhale, back through center. Exhale, twist over towards the other side. Continue at your own pace. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, twist towards the other side. Trying not to use your hand to push yourself any deeper. Inhale, back through center. Feeling the twist from the inside out. So the twist is coming from the spine, not from your hand pushing yourself any further. Next time you'll inhale, arms up, and we'll all meet twisting over towards the right, left hand on the knee, right arm behind you as you open the chest, twisting a little deeper, holding here. Feeling the crown of the head lengthen the whole spine, opening the chest, and back through center, reaching both arms up, other side. Looking over the left shoulder, if it feels right on the neck. And gently back through center, placing both hands down in front of you and walking, folding over your seated position. Making sure your sits bones keep grounding. And gently lifting back up. We're going to find our way onto all fours, tabletop position. Another way to use your blanket, if you have one, if this is too much for your knees, you can always place a blanket under them. We're going to place our hands under our shoulders, knees hip width apart. And we're going to just start by swaying our hips from side to side, loosening our hip joints if we might be carrying some tension. And now gently, we're going to take that movement into sort of that flow that we started with in that Sufi grind, but this time hips around the knees. So circles with the hips around the knees, but feeling that smooth flow that we had with the Sufi grinds at the beginning of the class. And maybe in the inhale, the chest broadens, heart reaches forward, and in the exhale, you reach your sits bones back. And maybe as you reach your sits bones back, it's almost as if you were looking for a child's pose, but not quite. Keeping your breath fluid, moving through the energy of the spine. And next time you reach your sits bones back, take it all the way back onto a child's pose. For some of us, child's pose might feel a little tight on the knees, so you might just want to lift the hips up just slightly, making it less heavy on the knees. If not, we'll meet in child's pose, and we'll take both hands over towards the right. Reaching the left hand a little further, really feeling the left side of the body lengthen. Lower your forehead, taking a couple breaths here. Left sits bone reaches towards the left heel. And back through center, walking your hands back into tabletop position. Other direction, taking your hips out towards the other side as you reach the heart forward, hips to the side and back. Continue with these circles for a couple breaths. making them your own. If there's any place that feels specifically sticky or tight and you want to keep it a little longer, feel free to do so. But really opening the heart as you reach forward and rounding the back as you reach your hips back. Loosening the spine, moving the energy. And next time, as you reach your sits bones back, take it back into child's pose, modifying as necessary. If you're taking child's pose, reaching the sits bones towards the heels, as you walk both hands towards the left, reaching the right hand a little further, really finding that length in the right side of the body. And maybe placing the forehead onto the mat. As you take deep breaths, really finding the length in the right side of the body, creating that space. And back through center, tabletop position. Placing all toes on the mat, lifting the hips up, downward facing dog. Feel free for this down dog to maybe separate your feet a little wider, keep the knees bent as you find length through the sits bones. So the sits bones are reaching up towards the ceiling. Taking a couple seconds to move, fidget as you please, maybe pedaling your feet or swaying your hips from side to side. Whatever feels right before we settle in our down dog. We'll all meet in a steady down dog. We're going to begin creating a little bit of heat to move a little smoother. So on the inhale, you're going to shift your shoulders over your wrists, plank pose, not letting your hips drop. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to do that 3 more times. Moving at the rhythm of your breath. Inhale, plank pose. Low ribs knit together. Engaging the low belly. Exhale, down dog. 2 more. Follow the rhythm of your breath. Moving mindfully. Last one, and we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Once again, shifting your shoulders over your wrists, plank pose. Feel free to do your own version of vinyasa. I'm going to take it step by step a little slower. Placing my knees down onto the mat, elbows tucked in towards my torso as I lower halfway, chaturanga. Flipping my feet, cobra, elbows tucked in, rolling the shoulders back, lengthening the tailbone towards my feet, and flipping my toes, taking it back, downward facing dog. From down dog, we're going to step the right foot between both hands. If your foot doesn't reach between both hands, feel free to assist it with your hand, grabbing the ankle and taking it between both hands. We're going to place our hands next to our foot, reaching our heart forward, lengthening through the crown of the head. Right hip crease pulls back. We're going to keep it here. Gently placing your hands back down, stepping the right foot back, plank pose. Shifting the hips up, downward facing dog, other side. Stepping the left foot between both hands. Reaching the heart forward, crown of the head lengthens. I like to come onto the tips of my fingertips to really find that length through the torso. And the torso isn't just collapsing on my thigh. We're lifting. Left hip crease pulls back, squaring off the hips. And lower both hands back down, stepping the left foot back. plank pose, downward facing dog. Separating your feet a little wider than hip width, we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet, shifting the weight completely onto our feet. We are going to bend our knees as we bring the weight towards our feet and fold forward. Grabbing opposite elbows, coming into ragdoll, feeling the weight of the torso hang heavy. The sides of the neck are relaxed. Bending our knees to keep the posture soft. Giving a little slack to our low back as we bend the knees. And maybe we sway from side to side if it feels right. Trying to keep the whole upper part of the body soft and heavy. Gently releasing the elbows, placing both hands onto the mat, walking the hands back, downward facing dog. Stepping once again the right foot between both hands. This time we'll lower the back knee down. Low lunge. But we're going to keep the hands squaring off the foot. We're going to keep the torso low as we lengthen through the crown of the head, reaching the heart forward, hips lower, feeling that opening in the left frontal hip. And keeping our hands where they are, we're just going to lengthen the right leg. If this feels too much, we're going to walk our hands slightly in and maybe come on toward the tips of our fingers. Actively flexing the right foot as you push through the heel. Visualize the back of the right leg lengthening as you flex the right foot. One more breath. And in the exhale, bend the knee, walking the hands back forward. Keeping the left hand where it is, reaching the right arm up, opening up towards the right side. Reaching again that right hip crease back to make sure the hips are squared. And gently lower the right hand down, placing the back toes onto the mat, lifting the back knee, stepping it back, plank pose. And downward facing dog. Other side, stepping the left foot between both hands. Again, if it doesn't reach, doesn't matter. Use your hand to bring it between both hands. Lowering the back knee, the back of the foot. Every time you lower the knee on the mat, and if it's a little sensitive or it's too much for the knee, you can always use a blanket to support the knee. Keeping the torso low, reaching the crown of the head forward. The right hip is facing down, left hip crease is pulling back. Feeling that right frontal hip open. Keeping the hands where they are, lengthening the left leg, maybe walking the hands slightly closer in as you actively flex the left foot. Again, when doing this, blocks might be in handy as you can lift a little and lengthen the torso a little more. But if you don't have any, just come into the tips of your fingers and maybe bend the knee slightly. Pushing through the heel, left toes are facing up. And gently bending the left leg, walking the hands forward. Keeping the right hand where it is, reaching the left arm up as you look up towards the left hand. Opening the chest towards the left side. And dropping the left hand next to the left foot, placing the back toes down, lifting the back knee, stepping the left foot back, plank pose. Shifting the hips up, downward facing dog. This time we're going to step the right foot forward, but we're going to step it outside of the right hand. Keeping the edge of the right foot parallel to the side of the mat. We're going to lower the back knee, the back of the foot, keeping the leg close into the torso. You might just stay here, or you might lower onto your forearms. Again, we're finding space. Even though we fold forward, we're looking to create space in the body. So we're not rounding the back or feeling as if we're pushing ourselves into the pose. Gently, if you're on your forearms, coming back onto your hands, wiggling the right foot between both hands, placing the back toes down, lifting the back knee, step it back, plank pose. Shifting the hips up, downward facing dog. Other side. Stepping the left foot outside of the left hand. Keeping the left edge of the foot parallel to the side of the mat. The knee in the same direction as the toes. As you lower the back knee, the back of the foot. Either staying here as you reach your heart forward and let your hips sort of reach towards the ground, or coming onto your forearms, keeping that same form. So the knee is in the same direction as the toes, and the hips are reaching towards the ground. Returning to that breath that we first started with. And placing your hands back onto your mat if they weren't there. Wiggling the left foot between both hands. Placing the back toes down, lifting the back knee, step it back, plank pose. And downward facing dog. Separating your feet a little wider than hip width. Walking your hands back, shifting the weight onto your feet. Making sure the weight is evenly distributed through your feet so it's not only onto your heels. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Long, strong back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, with a flat back, come all the way up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. We're going to interlace our hands behind us. If you have a strap or a towel or blanket, it might come in handy as it'll leave a little more space for the shoulders. If not, don't worry. You'll just interlace your hands behind you. Keeping your knees soft, you're going to fold forward with a long back as you relax the torso, letting the arms hang heavy overhead. Bending the knees so almost the torso can be supported with the thighs. Letting the shoulders release. Palms of the hands are facing each other. And it's almost as if you are pouring out any tension through the crown of the head. So the head is heavy, the sides of the neck are soft. Allowing yourself to be here, mind and body. Observing any sensation that arises. And gently releasing your hands, placing both hands onto the mat as you walk your hands forward into downward facing dog. Last down dog of the class. Placing both knees onto the mat. We're going to find our way onto our bellies, gently lowering down. Placing your forearms onto the mat. Forearms parallel to each other, shoulder width apart. The closer you bring in the elbows into the ribs, sort of the deeper this will be. If it's too much, you can always scoot them forward and let your legs sort of hang out wide apart, giving a little space to the low back. Shoulders rolling back, lengthening through the crown of the head. Sphinx pose, allowing ourselves to be here for a bit. And this heart opener. If you have a bolster, blankets, tons of pillows, you can always support yourself here and sort of make it a yin pose, which is more of a passive version of this pose. Taking deep breaths. And gently lowering the torso completely. We're going to find our way onto our back. Maybe just rolling ourselves. Coming onto our backs. Finding the softness in the body. We're going to bring the right knee into the chest. All toes are still facing up. There's a slight activity in the legs. Making sure that the shoulders are relaxed, the neck is relaxed. We're bringing the knee in towards ourselves rather than our torso towards the knee. We're going to grab the knee with the left hand, reaching the right arm out to the side as we twist over towards the left, looking over the right. Making sure both shoulders are grounded on the mat. Maybe closing our eyes or gentle gaze as we begin to unwind in the twist. And coming back through center, lengthening the right leg out, bringing the left knee in. So we hug the knee in, making sure all toes are facing up, the feet are flexed. There's a slight activity throughout the legs, although our torso is completely relaxed. We're not tensing or crunching in anywhere. Grabbing the left knee with the right hand, twisting over towards the right as we look over the left, opening the left arm towards the left. Making sure our head is relaxed, both shoulders are on the mat. There's sort of a rinsing out through the twist. Sensation of letting go, releasing. And coming back through center, this time bringing both knees into the chest, giving yourself a big hug, either knees together or apart, whatever feels best, but trying to keep the torso on the mat. Taking a deep inhale in through the nose, releasing it all through the mouth. Taking a second to close your eyes and observe how you're feeling after these couple of minutes of just being here with yourself, fully and present. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for joining. Namaste.